Good morning, guys. It is Monday. It's May 17th. We are on week 8 of school here at the main campus, quarter 4, day 6 of our final set of lessons. Today, you are going to be studying the final section of I Am the Light of the World. We started this last Friday on Virtual Friday, and we're going to finish it today. So let's dive in. Would you please pause here to pray for these scholars? And if you're in 6th, pause here to pray for these scholars. Go ahead. All right, Book of John. Pause the video and explain why that symbol is for the Book of John, that little sign with the cross in it. Go ahead. All right, guys, let's practice our verse. I'm going to do it with you once, and then I will pause it so you can do the rest on your own. And you are going to have, I'm just checking my paper here. I think you're going to have a verse quiz on this tomorrow, actually. And then, you have a verse quiz, just a verse quiz tomorrow, no exit ticket tomorrow. You do have an exit ticket today. Okay, so let's practice this so you're ready for tomorrow. Here we go. Get ready. Get ready. Here we go. Here we go. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. Verse 3, here we go. All things were made through Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. Verse 4, in Him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Okay, guys, you're going to do it on your own now with the background beat. Get ready. Here we go. Line 2. Verse 2. Get ready. Verse 3. Ready, go. Next line. Verse 4. Verse 5. And the darkness has not overcome it. Hey, I hope you guys got it. Nice job. Here is your pattern statement. We are currently on the page that says at the top, I am the bread of life, lesson 3, but it should say I am the light of the world. If your verse isn't done there and your pattern statement isn't done, you should be writing it in right now. The pattern statement is guidance from others, helps bring clarity to our own ideas. We're going to flip to the next page. Just a review, we've already done I am the bread of life. And remember, it just means just like bread fills your hunger and gives you what you need to survive, so Jesus does. Well, today we're going to finish up I am the light of the world, and I want you to be thinking, this is a metaphor. What is Jesus trying to say when he says I am the light of the world? So let's just think about this. You learned this verse at the beginning of the year. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. This is Jesus telling his people to be like him. Just a second. No, Lele. So there, Jesus is telling his people to be like him and to be little lights, okay? Let's go ahead and do this. There's 7 verses. This is it. This is the whole slide for the verses. So pause the video here and read these 7 verses and see if you can figure out the importance of Jesus saying, I am the light of the world. What's he trying to get people to understand? Pause it, read it, and then come back. All right, guys, we already watched Lumo last week, so we're actually not going to watch it again. If you want to, you can go online and go to YouTube and search for it. But we started to listen to this sermon last week, and you should have this first blank in your packet filled out. It says, this side of eternity, that means before we get to heaven, it It's very hard for us to keep what God says is important in our hearts and lives. Okay? So you can see this little guy over here giving the sermon. We were listening to Paul Tripp, but now we're going to listen to a little bit more. We're going to fill in those blanks on our paper. So go down to where it says the glory war and get ready to listen and fill in the blanks. Here we go. Here's his introduction.
What I've described to you in this principle of that this side of eternity, it's very hard for you to keep what God says important in your life, is a glory war. It's a glory war. And what this passage really does is it unfolds for us a glory drama in 4 acts. And I want to walk through that drama with you. Because in this, the zeal and the glory of the work of Christ is made clear. Here's the first act.
Okay, so that was the intro. Now let's dive into the glory war. Okay, there's acts in a play, like 4 parts to a play. And after each act, usually the curtain closes and then it opens again, and it's like a new set of stories. So he's saying there's 4 acts. Here's the first one. It's in your notes. It says the tragedy of the blank. Watch.
Clear. Here's the first act. It's captured in the words of that very first verse. These words almost seem too brief, too mundane, too ordinary to carry the drama of what these words depict. Act 1 is the tragedy of the fall. The horrible tragedy of the fall. It's pictured in the life of one single individual that stands as a metaphor of something horrible that's happened in the world. Eyes were meant to see. Something's dramatically wrong here. From birth, this man has never seen. He's never seen his mother's face. He's never seen the stern look of his father. He's never seen the beauty of a sunset.
Wow, that's powerful. So if you read the first verse, it says, as he passed by, he saw a man blind from birth. And this pastor named Paul Tripp is saying the first thing we have to notice when we look at this passage is the tragedy of the fall. That before we look at anything else, this man was blind from birth. So that's the first thing you should notice. Here's the second thing you should notice. Number 2.
Act 2 is the miserable theology of the disciples. Fasten your seatbelts.
By the way, theology means a study of God. Ology means study of. Theo means God. So the disciples understood Christianity in a bad way because it says the miserable theology. It means they're actually wrong on something. So listen to how they're wrong.
His disciples ask him, Rabbi, Master, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? You should be shocked by that question. You should be offended by that question. You should be saddened by that question. Where is the compassion? Where is the sympathy? Where is the mercy? Where is the grace?
Okay, so here's what's happening. In verse 2, the disciples say, why is this man blind? Who sinned in order for him to be blind? And this pastor is saying that's the wrong way to look at it. You shouldn't look at someone who has something wrong with their physical body and assume that it's because of sin. Okay, here's the third one. It's called the glory blank of the Redeemer.
Third act, the glory agenda of the Redeemer. Now listen to these words. I think these words are at once deeply unsettling and powerfully encouraging. It was not this man, that this man sinned or his parents. Okay, again, fasten your seatbelts and put on your crash helmets. But that the work of God might be displayed in him. Now think about what's being said here. Jesus saying, no, 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 you get the whole thing wrong. This moment is not an example of condemnation. This moment is a process of grace. There's something else operating here, but this thing that's operating here is something we don't like to think about. Could it be that God would, in his sovereignty, allow this man to suffer this physical thing so at a moment in time he would encounter the Messiah, and a moment of time the glory of the Messiah would be made known to him and be known to all the people.
Wow, so he's saying if this man wouldn't have been born blind, maybe he wouldn't have known the goodness of God because God wouldn't have had to heal him. So God had an agenda or a plan to show his glory to this man. Okay, we're at the bottom of the page where it says two kinds of glory. Here it is.
Are hardwired for glory. And the Bible would present to us there are only two kinds of glory that exist. Let me give them to you. Sign glory, S-I-G-N glory, and God glory. Sign glory is all of the glory of the created world. God meant for the created world to be glorious. Sunsets are supposed to be glorious. Lilies are supposed to be glorious. Storms are supposed to be glorious. Animals are supposed to be glorious. But that glory is sign glory. Every single created glory is meant to be a finger that points to the ultimate glory, the one glory that will only ever satisfy your heart, the glory of God.
Guys, I put creation glory because it's really talking about all the creation as a sign pointing to God. If you'd rather put sign glory here, you can. By the way, isn't it cool that the symbol for John is a sign? Isn't that cool? Because the signs point to God.
Every created glory serves the purpose of the larger glory. But what happens to us is we begin to attach our hearts to attach our lives to the created glory. We ask the created glory to do for us that which it cannot do. We ask it to do in our hearts what it cannot do. We ask it to give us life. And all that ever ends up with is that you're fat, addicted, and in debt. It can't work because, listen, earth will never be your savior. All of the glories of the created world are meant to point you again and again, to remind you again and again of the ultimate glory, the glory for which you were created, the glory of God. Now, the tragic thing is what happens in sin. Sin blinds me to the ultimate glory and addicts me to the sign glory.
Did you hear what it just said? Sin blinds me to God's glory. Blinds me. You are the light of the world. What happened when God healed the blind man? All of a sudden he could see. Sin takes my eyes and points them on things here on earth instead of pointing them to God.
tragedy of sin. I say that again. It blinds me to the ultimate glory, and it addicts me to the glory of the creation. And I frantically search for life where it will never, ever, ever be found. This is why God would do the thing that is in this passage, why he would manufacture a particular situation of suffering in order to give this person the one thing he needs, desperately needs. Not just physical sight, but an understanding of the glory of the Messiah, in whom he alone will find life.
Wow, you guys, it's so powerful. There's a bigger sign for Jesus being light of the world. There's a bigger meaning. So here's the very last, so this is only 1 minute long. It's on the next page, and this is act number 4.
Act 1, the tragedy of the fall. Act 2, the miserable theology of the disciples. Act 3, the glory agenda of the Redeemer. Act 4, Christ's summary self-declaration. I am the light of the world.
A self-declaration is what you declare about yourself, which is, I am the light of the world. Jesus said that about himself.
Jesus uses the occasion of the blindness of this man and the opening of his eyes to say this. Disciples, don't you get it? There's a deeper blindness. There's a blindness that's much worse than physical blindness. There's a blindness that's much more tragic than physical blindness. Don't you understand, disciples, that every human being has 2 vision systems? You have your physical eyes and you have the eyes of your heart. You can be physically blind and live quite well, but you cannot be spiritually blind and live well. And so this is the thing that I've come to do. This is the thing that I alone am able to do. In the miracle of grace, I am able to give sight to stone blind spiritual eyes. There could be no more important, there could be no more significant work in the universe than this. That eyes that are tragically blinded by sin, who do not see the one glory that they were created to live for, now are opened by grace.
Grace. Sorry, that was actually 2 minutes. I want to give you the rest of the time to do your exit ticket, but let's just take 30 seconds for each of these questions. Jot down your answers, and then teachers, please discuss, just real quick, why was the man born blind, and what's the most important role of Jesus in this passage? Go ahead, 30 seconds for each, and then just discuss real quick. Pause the video. All right, your final task is to use race to answer this question, and you may do it right on your exit ticket, or you could write it first and then put it on your exit ticket. The question is, what main idea was Jesus seeking to convey to the disciples in this passage, John 9, 1-7? All right, scholars, have a great day, and get ready for your first quiz tomorrow. Bye.